So our final breakout session today highlights innovative solutions from the private sector. This session is moderated by Faye Ekredolu. I think I still messed that up, sorry. Please welcome our panelists and Faye Ekredolu. I'm so sorry. It's been a long day.
All right, so welcome again to the last session. My name is Faye Ekredolu, and welcome to the Industry and Business Spotlight panel. So in this session, two organizations from the business and industry sector will share their sustainability initiatives and efforts to reduce emissions. So we're gonna hear today about corporate sustainability programs, adoption of cleaner technologies, and industry partnerships that are advancing air quality improvements across our region. So I'm going to introduce our panelists today. First of all, we have Trey Campbell. Trey is the director of the Environmental Affairs Department at the Port of Houston authorities. Trey began his career as an environmental scientist with the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality, and later served as environmental manager and training manager at the Gulf Island Fabrication. Trey holds a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry from Morehouse College, graduating top of his class, and brings deep experience in planning, permitting, and compliance across the oil, gas, and petrochemical industries. Please welcome Trey. And then we have Christina Penrose. Christina is the Senior Environmental Manager at the Lubrizol Corporation. She is a seasoned health, safety, environment, and sustainability leader with a background in chemical engineering from the University of Delaware. Christina has extensive experience in ISO 14001, environmental management and air quality. She also works closely with the East Harris County Manufacturers Association, helping to strengthen collaboration between industry and community. So we are very excited to have Christina on our panel today. Thank you so much. Again, we are excited to hear their perspective and also to learn more about how industry leaders are working towards, cleaner air quality in our region. So today they're gonna be speaking, and then we'll save the questions till the end. We'll have more than enough time for Q&A. So please leave your questions till the end when both panelists have finished talking, and then we'll have some time to discuss. So right now, I'm going to welcome Trey to the podium to share a few slides with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Faye. All right, good afternoon, everybody. I realize this is the last session of the day, so either you, A, don't have anything else to do, or B, you're actually interested in air quality. So we're going to go with the latter, hopefully. So my name's Trey Campbell. A little bit about me. I've been working at Port Houston for about 10 years now. Before that, I was in oil and gas, and started my career as a regulator for Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality. So I've been a little bit of everywhere, I guess, so to speak. I am a dad of 5, so I love dad jokes, and I figured I'd give you guys one since you're here. So what did the ocean say to the beach? Nothing, it just waved. Oh. Thank you. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to talk a little bit about who Port Houston is, right? I know a lot of people may or may not know who Port Houston is, and then I'll go into a lot of or at least some of the air quality initiatives that we have going on with the port right now. This slide here is a mandatory slide that I have to show you. It is our Board of Commissioners, led by our chairman, Mr. Rick Campo. These individuals here are appointed to this position by various people, Harris County, City of Houston, smaller cities around Houston. And they are the ones who kind of govern what we do. They set the standards for some of the things that we do. They have to approve a lot of the things that we do at a certain level. But these are the guys that meet once a month. We had a meeting actually yesterday with them. So they are the people who tell us what to do, and we just end up doing it. So they're good folks, though. Now, this slide here is to help you understand who Port Houston is. Port Houston owns and operates 8 public terminals, not the entire ship channel. If you see this slide here, it kind of represents over 200 different companies up and down the ship channel. We are not those 200 companies. We're just a small piece of that. And the highlighted sections here are our terminals. 5 of the terminals are leased out to tenants of ours. For example, our bulk materials handling plant is leased out by Kinder Morgan. Jacinto Port is by Seaboard, and CARE is by another. The ones that we operate are our Turning Basin Terminal, which is our general cargo facility. It can take anything that doesn't fit in a container. That could be large wind turbines, that could be grain, that could be cars. Anything that does not fit in a container will go through that. And our other 2 terminals that we do operate are Barbers Cut and Bayport, and those are our container terminals. So again, this kind of represents the port's property that we own and operate. A few highlights about the Port Houston. In 2024, we had an annual tonnage of 53 million tons. That's up 6%, and it was a record year for us. We also moved 4.1 million TEUs. A TEU is a 20-foot equivalent unit. It's the boxes on the container ships. So we moved 4.1 million of those last year, which was also a record. We're really big into grants. Last year, we were awarded $57 million in grants, and a lot of that went to sustainable initiatives, environmental initiatives, and then some infrastructure initiatives as well. Last year, we engaged over 80,000 community members. We are in the communities. We are talking. We are attending these super neighborhood meetings. We are trying to figure out how the port fits in with what they're doing and how we can be better. And last year, we did achieve Great Place to Work, shameless plug there, which is our first time doing that. We've been kind of reaching for it for several years now, and we were able to reach it last year. Now, our main 2 things that we do as a port to help keep the region economy moving is we're the advocate and strategic leader of the Houston Ship Channel. Now, I mentioned earlier, we don't own those facilities up and down the channel, but we are a partner with the United States Army Corps of Engineers on major projects to make sure that the channel keeps moving. We do help with maintenance dredging of the channel to make sure that the ships can come up and down it. And we did partner with the United States Army Corps of Engineers on Project 11, which is a project that's going on now to deepen and widen the channel. So that is a huge project that we do to make sure that the ships are able to come up and down the channel. The second one that I mentioned earlier is that we do manage the 8 public terminals that we do operate. Just a couple stats about the Houston Ship Channel in general. The Houston Ship Channel is responsible for 1.54 million jobs in Texas, 3.37 million jobs nationwide, and it has an economic impact of $439 billion in just Texas, and then almost $1 trillion across the U.S. So the Houston Ship Channel, we all know, is a very busy waterway, but this kind of shows some of the stats and some of the things that it actually does for the economy. Now, let's talk about the decarbonization challenge, right? We all know that this is a huge challenge, and this is not to scale, but this is just to represent the issues that we're seeing from a greenhouse gas standpoint. Now, Port Houston is in the small or light blue at the bottom left. We're at about 25,000 tons of carbon emissions per year, right? Not a huge number, but a number nonetheless. The Port Houston users, which are the truck drivers, the shipping companies, the rail that visit us, they're at about 700. Regional trucking is about at 9,000. This is in 1,000 tons, I'm sorry. You see the Houston Ship Channel and where it is. You see global shipping. You see the world. So how do we make a dent in this, right? What do we have to do to try to make a dent, even if we're just a small piece of it? So at the port, we've developed our engagement model of lead, partner, and support. We'll lead initiatives that are fully within our control, and I'll talk about a few of those here. We'll partner with others to make sure that we can make an even bigger dent and not just sit in our silos and actually have communications with others in industry, academia, and community. And we'll support those things that we feel are important as well, whether that's financially or just being a part of the conversation. If you're not in the conversation, then you have no say, right? So some of the things that we do lead in, all of our ship-to-shore cranes, the large cranes that look like the machines from Star Wars, are all fully electric. Those are all electric. We signed a 100% renewable electricity contract about 5 years ago. We're about halfway through that, so all of our electricity is procured from renewable sources, wind and solar. We have piloted multiple electric yard trucks. We have 5 electric pool vehicles right now that are just for our internal use with plans to purchase more. And lastly, we made a commitment to only purchase hybrid electric rubber tire gantry cranes. Those are the cranes, large cranes that move the containers on the properties. And all of those that we purchase now are all hybrid. It cuts down the emissions by about 90% from their fully diesel counterparts. So that's one of the ways that we've been able to lead. Partnering, we've partnered with trucking companies to, this picture at the bottom left is a first Sunburst company where they brought in the first zero emission drayage truck into the port. This was a few years ago, so we were able to kind of get some pictures there. And then at the bottom right is a picture with Shell that we signed an MOU with to get some things done with them as far as reducing emissions for our stuff. And in support, we're with the Blue Sky Maritime Coalition, and we also help support the High Velocity Hub as well. Now, this is one of our main initiatives that we have. This is our 2050 roadmap. The port drew our line in the sand a few years ago to say, hey, we want to be carbon neutral by 2050. Let's put together a roadmap of what that looks like. Now, like most companies that have made this commitment, we weren't absolutely sure how we would get there, but making the commitment is very important. We're still not absolutely sure how we're going to get there, but we still have this commitment. And this just kind of outlines some of the things that we're doing. We feel like we're going to lead in scope 1 and 2, and then scope 3 and the beyond value chain is what we're calling it. Those are the ones that we can try our best to influence with others that may be available. So this is something that we're working on constantly. It's a moving target for us. It's something that always is different. It depends on where technology is. It depends on what other kind of policies are in place. But it's something that we're very committed to. Now, just a few other of our initiatives that we have. We just completed our 2023 goods movement emissions inventory. It's how we know where we are from an emissions standpoint. It includes all the trucks that visit us, the ships that visit us, and the rail as well. So it's not just the things that we control, but it's also the things that are somewhat within our purview. So that has just been uploaded to our website, so we're very happy about that being done. Now that will lead to our Clean Air Strategy Plan, which shows what are we going to do over the next 5 years to continue to reduce those emissions. Things in there are going to be equipment changes. What types of equipment are we going to try to pilot and use to help bring down emissions? What types of procedures and things are we going to put in place for maybe our trucking companies that visit us? Those are the types of things that we'll put in there in this plan and utilize that for the next 5 years to bring those emissions down. Now, these last 3 are things that we received in our EPA Clean Sport Program grant. One is to do a GHG inventory. It's a little different from the GMEI, but it will give us a little more information about our greenhouse gases and how we're affecting others around us. From there, we'll do a climate action plan, and then we're also doing 2 studies, a truck study and a traffic study, that will help us understand what it looks like around the port and around the Houston region in general. Now, all of these are just a bunch of the initiatives that we have that are in place now that we're trying to make a difference. Now, what's not here is that we also want to hear from the communities around us. We are in a lot of these communities. We're in Pleasantville. We are in Galena Park. We are trying to figure out what these folks need from us to help them as well. We have a grants program that strictly grants, and anyone can apply to it as long as you're within 2 miles of the port. And several of those folks, they do anything from building gardens in their communities to having some environmental programs at the schools. So that happens, and that amount has grown every year. We're very proud of that program, in addition to the things that we support as well, whether it be financially or just sitting with them. I think this is my last slide for now. Yes. So that's it for now, and I will answer some questions here shortly, but thank you.
Thank you very much, Ray. I'm going to have Christina.
All right. Let me see if I can get this working. Okay. So I just want to do an introduction. I'll talk about Lubrizol, but then I also want to talk about some other industry highlights. So I've been more years than I want to say in engineering and environmental experience in both the pharmaceutical and chemical industry. My current role is Senior Environmental Manager at for the Lubrizol Deer Park and Bayport facilities. But I also serve as Environmental Committee Chair for the East Harris County Manufacturers Association and the Board President for Houston Region Monitoring. When I was working in the Texas City area, I also served as the Vice President for the Texas City Air Monitoring Network. I've just graduated through the ACC Advocacy Program, and then I've been an active member in TCC Outreach Committee and Air Committee. And I just wanted to share those things because it'll flavor what I'm talking about in terms of our interactions with industry and the community. So about Lubrizol. So this is just an aerial view of our Deer Park facility. We've been 74 years in the Deer Park community, producing engine oils and fuel additives. So people are asking me, what is Lubrizol? What does Lubrizol do? So we're in many of the products that consumers use every day: hand sanitizers, engine oil, refrigeration, industrial gear, food packaging, lotions, medicine, electronics. So a wide variety of products that the Lubrizol Corporation manufactures, about 7,500 different products that we manufacture. We are headquartered in Ohio, and we're 97 years old. So we've been in this space for a while. And these are just those different industries that we're in, between transportation, wellness, and industry. And so our mission statement, or our purpose statement, tells a lot about what Lubrizol believes in. Our science delivers sustainable solutions to advance mobility, improve well-being, and enhance modern life. So when we come to work each day, these are some of the driving principles that we have in our organization that is really in our DNA. It's in our chemistry, as we say. So our corporate sustainability strategy is around three core principles: responsible citizenship. We want to do business responsibly everywhere and every day. Sustainable solutions, delivering sustainable solutions that actually empower the innovation that our customers have and their technology. And then engage teams and communities. We want to do this together with our communities. And you can see that our goals for the responsible citizenship portion is 20% reduction in scope 1 and 2 greenhouse gas emissions, 10% reduction in waste to landfill, and biennial risk assessments and restoration projects for water. The other thing is built into our strategy for product development, and I'll go into that in a minute, but the goal is for 100% of our new projects, our innovation projects, to be assessed using sustainable solutions criteria, which assesses like what the impact is of our products to overall health and wellness. And so we have several key indicators that we're using. And then from engaged communities, we donate millions of dollars to to organizations and local communities. And we're really proud of our employee volunteer hours because we feel like we create community chemistry by getting involved and engaged with our communities in many different ways. All of those are parts of our strategy. So as of last year, our target was to reduce 20%, and we are at 16 as of last year. Same thing, our target was 10% reduction in waste to landfill, and as of last year, we're at 18% reduction. And so, and then we have communicated the results of our assessments and made plans for our next assessments for our water risk. So we're going to continually look for ways to improve, but this at least tells you that we're progressing nicely towards the goals that we have set. So, you know, I said that we've been around for 97 years, and so our bread and butter, I guess, is in oil additives, and we started in 1928, and basically, by the additives that we're producing have been extending the life of engines, reducing the CO2 emissions by 2 times, increasing the amount of mileage that you can get in your cars, and then also increasing engine life. And so all of these things, and you can kind of see some of the journeys that the types of additives that we have provided are helping to continue to evolve and innovate so that we can create a sustainable future. And yes, there is an EV there. You still need additives, and you still need lubricants to keep your engines going and also to keep the batteries cool for electric vehicles. So just because we are an oil additive company does not mean that we wouldn't be relevant in the EV market. So we also, I talked about some of the other products that we have. So we've continued to try to include and improve the innovation. So we have one of our products is a 30 to 70% bio-based thermoplastic thermopolyurethane, the TPU product. And that one, we are increasingly improving the use of it. We have worked with companies like Nike to make the entire shoe is made out of the TPU, and so it is actually can be recycled as well. So just different products, even CPVC. We have CPVC piping that helps to reduce impacts versus metal pipes. So I'll just keep on going. And our Carbapol. So Carbapol is like in lotions, and an emulsifying agent that makes your lotions, all of that emulsion come together, all of the ingredients come together, and it also makes it softer. And so we've made biodegradable versions of that to help make it more sustainable. So enough about Lubrizol. So let me go through some other highlights with our other agencies. So I said that I was involved with ECMA, East Harris County Manufacturers Association. So one of the ways that industry and companies like Lubrizol work with our neighbors and work together is with an ECMA. It's a coalition of different companies in and around the greater Houston area, and we create opportunities for best practices and sharing, advocacy and communications, not only between the members, but also with our neighbors. So we support our companies allow us to volunteer our services to these organizations. And so we work together on committees for industry and also our local stakeholders. ECMA is involved in helping to organize and help to support the community action councils in our local neighborhoods. So we support 8 different CACs and CAPs. We do outreach to the community in those community advisory panels and in the cities and in the communities. And so that we can collaborate on best practices. And those best practices, and so me being on the environmental committee, chairing that committee, we actually benchmark with local member companies. Not all of the companies have the same, breadth of, of technical resources or ability to do lots of research or have a lot of manpower. So by coming together, we're able to share those best practices so that they can improve as well. So Houston Regional Monitoring is another voluntary industry-funded resource, and you heard from Dr. Flowers earlier, who helps to provide some of that technical backing. And all these industries, like Lubrizol, we put money into funding this technical resource. So, it costs a lot of money to purchase, operate, maintain, and then analyze the information that's coming from all of these resources. And so we've been in the industry for over 35 years, collecting ambient air quality monitoring and doing special studies. And that data, which you've seen a lot of the data today, helps to support different science research projects. It helps to support the state implementation plans. And we are able to share that data not only between the different companies so that we can take actions to improve air quality, but also sharing it with the regulatory community, as well as it's available for everyone to be able to see. So we already showed a bunch of, how well we have coverage in our area compared to many other locations. Of course, there are gaps right in there, but when you look at how much coverage we do have and how much knowledge we do have, these monitors help to inform not only the regulators, but also to help inform us on ways that we can help improve air quality. And so I believe you saw some of the numbers, but some of these efforts have helped us to drive emissions down to really low levels over the years that we have been monitoring. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Christina. That was a wealth of information. So now we've opened the floor. If anyone has any questions, please. You can use one of the mics. Yes, go ahead.
East Houston Manufacturers Association is a
Can you speak into the mic?
East Houston, can you hear me? Let me try this one. Test, yeah. East Houston Manufacturers Association. I really appreciate participating in it. I'm just a regular citizen, but I'm interested in what the industry does for our community. And the efforts to tell us if there's an upset in our community for the CARE online,
Yes.
CAER online. If there's a noise or a smell or something, you can find out what it's caused by, and that's a really great service. And the presentations that East Harris County Manufacturers Association is high quality, very informative. And if you want to know about what is done in Houston, you should go and volunteer to go to one of their meetings. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. No, we agree that it's a great resource, and that's why we support it, and that's why our companies allow us to work in those committees.
Does Port Houston go north of I-10?
We have one property, I think, North Banana Bend property. That's the only property that we own north of I-10.
And so between the bridge and that property, you don't have anything? You're not party of the barges that are out there in the middle, right there at I-10 and the San Jacinto River?
We do own the submerged land in Harris County, so we do have some areas that we lease out to barging companies.
So the barges that are at I-10 and the San Jacinto River are rented by, that property is rented by the Port of Houston, correct?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then Lakeside is a road that runs along the, it's on the San Jacinto. The San Jacinto goes sideways up there just before the I-10 bridge and just before I-10. And it has all of those barges that are on that property. Is that Port Houston?
That part is not our property.
And whose property is that?
I am not sure.
Okay.
Probably Harris County, if I had to guess.
Harris County has property in addition to Port Houston, in addition to the Army Corps of Engineers, in addition to
The
Coast
Army Corps
Guard.
doesn't have any property, but they have easements with them.
I'm calling out agencies. I don't know who owns what.
Yes, ma'am.
Who is responsible for the emissions that comes from that? Because those, in essence, they're your tenant or somewhat of a vendor. So who's responsible for the emissions that are coming from those units?
Yes, ma'am. The individual companies are responsible, but we do audit them frequently to make sure that they are within their regulatory limits of what they're supposed to be doing.
You audit the barges or the barge
Yes, ma'am.
companies?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And I live out there. There's just no way they're passing any kind of audit. So
Yeah.
what is the repercussion when they don't pass? Or what is it that you do on your side to confirm that they're really giving you good information?
We do check their information. We do check with TCQ on any items that they may have outstanding. But from there, I understand what you're saying. It's up to them to kind of self-report if something does happen, but we're going off of the information that we're given between them and the regulatory agencies.
And currently, there isn't anything on the side of the port that you go out there and kind of monitor or know what they're doing?
It could be regulatory agencies like TCQ, Harris County Pollution Control. Others should be doing frequent audits as well.
Okay. What's the status of Project 11 specific to the soil testing?
As far as I know, all soil testing has been done for the material that's going to be placed in the placement areas. We have, or we can, that's been done by the Army Corps of Engineers, but we can get that information and give it to you if you would like. But as far as we know, all that information has been done. All of those testing has been done.
And who did the testing?
Can I just interrupt for a minute because we have to move to other questions? Thank you so much.
But I can talk with you after if you.
Yes, we can wrap up later on. Thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay.
Hello. I am curious about the HRM network. You mentioned that data was open to the public or available, and I've seen some of the HRM on the TCEQ network and with Harris County Pollution Control, but that's only like 3 of your different sites, and I'm curious if or where the other sites could be publicly available, if that data from those other locations, and how we might access that information.
So the data is available. Yes, there's data available on the TCQ website. There's also data shared with Harris County Pollution Control. And then if you go to the HRM website, we update the data periodically so that you can see and download information. And
Only
it's
for those
HRM.
3, or for
No,
all of your?
for our whole network.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you. Are there any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
So what do you say you update that data periodically, what does periodically mean?
I have to get Brad to tell us.
Okay.
Brad's gonna come up here. He's my technical resource.
We update a digital brochure on an annual basis that contains a lot of summary information from annual averages at the sites, and then all of the VOC summary data is shared with the TCQ toxicology program. So they fold that information into their analysis. I don't think that, except for the auto GCs, I don't think that individual validated data is available generally, but we provide summaries near and far, so.
All right, thank you. I know both of you have talked a lot about community engagement and how you engage with community. I have a question for you, but it's not really about community, it's about technology. So what are the most promising new technologies or business practices your company is investing in to reduce air emissions? And a follow-up question to that is, can you provide a specific example of an innovation that has led to a measurable improvement in air quality?
Yeah.
I don't know
Let me
who wants
start.
to go first, Trey?
I can start.
Okay.
I talked about it a little bit earlier. I think our biggest investment that we've made to date is our rubber tire gantry cranes. Those are the biggest emitters of emissions of pieces of equipment that we have that the port owns. And moving to purchase a more expensive piece of equipment that gives us a lot more reduction in emissions was a huge deal for us. Luckily for me, operations love them a lot because there's a reduction in fuel. So that's the way they kind of look at it sometimes, but I'm okay with having it both ways, you know, less fuel and less emissions. So that's been one of the biggest things that we've done. We also were able to, in our Project 11, which is the $1 billion plus project for the deepening and widening, we were able to negotiate with the dredging companies to get some of the cleanest dredges available, if not the cleanest dredges available on the market to help do that project. So those are two big items that we're very proud of that we've been able to do over the past few years. So.
Awesome, thank you.
At Lubrizol, a lot of our R&D and technology goes into making our products a lot more sustainable, so I shared some of those products. As far as air quality, we are investing and trying to look for other alternatives for, to combustion technologies for controlling our air emissions. The issue with combustion is that because of all of the competing requirements, it's hard for you to find, an appropriate technology that gets us to the low levels that we're required to get to, or that we're like the target keeps moving. The target keeps moving to get lower and lower to no emissions, right? And so looking at technology, so we've been doing some research for the past several years on a plasma technology, but again, it's very, very much research and pilot scale, but we're trying to look into the future.
Awesome, thank you. I have another question. If there are no questions from the audience. Any questions? No? Okay. Yes, you have a question? Just one question.
Do we know why there's not another air monitor from HRM over by Baytown? Like closer to the Exxon facility as opposed to just the Phillips and Covestra?
Just funding, to try to, look at what the best locations, and, our companies, also are required to do, many of our companies are required to do a lot of monitoring themselves, so.
Thank you. So just final thoughts. Just wanted to find out, what is one key message that you would like to leave with the audience today about commitment of the industry and business community to addressing Houston's air quality?
Yeah, I think what I want to leave with as a key message is collaboration, right? What's the old saying? If you want to go somewhere fast, go by yourself. If you want to go somewhere far, go with someone. There's several folks in here that I go with places too, and I think that's the key to it. It's the collaborations. We're not in silos anymore from an industry standpoint, from an academia standpoint, from a community standpoint. We need to all come together and figure this thing out together. We know that there's a problem. We know that air quality is a huge issue for all of us, but we want to make sure that we're leaving this planet in a better place than it is for us, so it can be for our children and grandchildren. So let's work together. It's places like this that we can do this. It's places like community meetings where we can do this. It's places at board meetings, wherever we can have the conversation. We need to have the conversation early and often in any type of projects or in initiatives that we're doing. So collaboration.
And I would echo that. We've heard from so many of the speakers today what a complex, challenge it is for improving air quality. The target keeps moving because there are so many different factors that are involved. And so I think, many times, industry gets a bad rap, I guess, in terms of being the ones that are, the primary impactors. But we all have a role to play, even as consumers and even as, as in our communities. So collaboration is the key, and not thinking about this as just a local problem, but how can we work together, and how can we, to help each other out, because we all need to get there together, and we're impacted just as much as some others. So we need to figure out how we can pull our information, our resources, our knowledge, of what's happening in your individual areas, and work together.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Can we just give both of them a round of applause? Thank you. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Christina. And that brings us to the end of this panel. If you have any further questions, we can meet with either of them privately later on. But just want to also highlight that, as both of them have said, collaboration, working together to reduce the Houston's air pollution is the way forward. And it's this platforms like this that enable us to drive that move forward. So there will be more of this, more communication, collaboration. So thank you once again for taking the time to join, and have a good afternoon.
All right, thank you so much for that great discussion and those great presentations.